Hello guys, good day everyone. This is the Creators Lodge and you are welcome to my YouTube channel. So if this is your first time coming across my channel, please do well to like this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification button so that YouTube will notify you when next I drop a tutorial video like this. Alright guys, so in today's tutorial, we are going to be looking at how to create a business flyer like this. Alright, so a client reached out to you requesting for a design for their auto repairs, alright, and they ask you to do a flyer design for them. So here is a typical flyer that you can do for a client, alright. So I'm going to be showing you guys the step-by-step guide on how to create a flyer like this, guys. Please do not forget, I always say this in my tutorials, some of my tutorials, that the idea behind this, the whole essence of these tutorials is to help you see that you can actually do these designs yourself. But you need to take a step further by creating something unique. You need to take a step further by creating something different, all right, and keep practicing so that when a client comes to you with a job, you already have idea of what to do because you have been practicing for a while. All right, let's get into the tutorial. So I'm going to be bringing the original in, alright, so that we can use this as a guide. Alright, so I'm going to lock the layer. Now I'm just going to make this invisible. Now I want to start bringing in the images. Alright, so let's bring in the first image. Now before I do that, now look at this design, guys. You're going to see that the name says Vegan Autos Repairs. Now can you see that every single picture I made use of on this design, every single picture on this design speaks about repairs? Now for instance, let's start analyzing it. Now look at this first image here. You're going to see that this lady is trying to work on something in the bonnet of this car. Now you can see that it speaks about repair. Now when you look into this image in this cycle here, you are going to see this man also trying to work out something inside of the bonnet of this car. Now when you look into this image, you are going to see this man also trying to work something on the body of the car. Now when you look into this image, you're going to see this man trying to work out some repairs on the tire of the car. So every image on this design, I always say this, guys, you don't use images carelessly on your design, because images are part of elements of design, and images or image, they communicate a message. So whenever you want to do a design, a particular flyer, every image you are using on that flyer must communicate the message that you want people to see in that design or on that design. You must use images that communicates the message. For instance, I always say this, for some of my students, when you want to do a birthday flyer design and you are putting leaves on your birthday flyer. So I ask questions like, why is there leaf on this design? This is birthday, you want to celebrate someone, and then you are putting leaf. So do you want to plant the person? Do you want the person to germinate? All right. So you need to think as a creative designer. You need to understand these things. That is not just about you seeing a beautiful image out there and then putting it on your design. Understand this image. Is it working well on this design? Does it have its role? Is it playing a role on this design? If the image is not playing any role on the design, do not include such image, guys. Do not include such image, because you will end up giving your design a different look that is not peculiar, or that is not, it's not going to be interesting. It's going to look awful. It's going to look awkward. All right. So every single image I used on this design speaks about the design, which is very, very good, which is very, very important. Every graphic designer needs to pay attention to this. Now let's do that. Let's make this layer invisible. Let's bring in the first image. Alright guys, so this is the first image. Now when you look at this image, you are going to see that it's blending to the background, and that is because I erased softly the bottom of this image. Now if you have been familiar with my videos and my tutorials, you will understand how to do this. Please go to the Pixellab application. You are going to see the cutout tool. Use it to erase softly the bottom of your design. Just reduce the hardness, increase the opacity, and erase. All right, so it's going to, the idea, the essence of this is to make it blend to the background. So you can see that it's blending well to the background, which is very, very important and is very, very good. Now I'm just going to centralize this and I'm going to lock the layer. All right, now this is the first image. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is to write the Began. All right, so I'm going to write the Began. So Began is the name of this brand, Began Autos. All right, so that's the name of this brand. So I'm going to change the font, and the font I used for this is a font called the MTN font. All right, so I made use of the MTN Sans Medium, MTN Brighter Sans Medium. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm just going to increase the size to about let's see 130. All right, so I'm just going to increase the size to about 130. I love this. Now I'm going to create the meter rule. Very important. It's very important for this design because the size, okay, now the size for this design is the A4 size, which is, I'm going to show you guys now, just a minute. So I want to create my meter rule because it's very important for this design. We're going to be using it for this design. Now let me show you guys the size of this layout. Now this is the A4 size, which is 3508 for the height and 2480 for the width. This is the default A4 size if you want to do A4 flat design. So guys, today I didn't use 3000 by 3500. All right, now let's go on. So I'm going to place the Began here. All right, I'm going to place Began here this way. Yeah, something like this. Good. Now I'm going to lock the layer for this Began. All right, now the next thing we're going to do, don't worry, someone will ask a question that it's not really clear enough. Don't worry, we're going to sort that out. Now I'm going to write the autos. Okay, I'm going to write the autos, and for this autos I made use of a different font. All right, I made use of a font called Fractal Bold. Okay, Fractal Bold. Now this is it, Fractal Bold. So this is it. All right, but I'm just going to reduce the size of Fractal Bold to about 67. All right guys, now all I'm trying to do is to just create hierarchy. That's why I'm reducing the size this way. If you see me reducing the size and all that, I'm just trying to create hierarchy on this design. Okay, now let me check out the original. I'm just going to bring this up. So I'm going to make this invisible. So we have the autos here. Now the next thing we want to do is to write the repairs, but the repairs is on a more like a rectangle shape. I didn't just want to write it together. I want it to be distinct. Now if you look at the design, you're going to see the way I wrote the repairs. I want it to have a different way. All right, I didn't just want to write it together, so that's why I created that shape. So that's what we're going to be doing now. I'm going to click on shapes. I'm going to reduce my shape this way. All right, so I'm going to reduce this way, and I'm going to choose this gradient color. Now I'm going to show you guys. The first one here is going to be transparent. All right, so you can see. Now the second one, this is the color code BF6D24. all right, so that's the color code. All right, so I'm just going to make use of that. And if you want to ask why am I making use of such a color, now the reason is because after the end of this design, now as a graphic designer, there are two ways to do a design. You finish the design already in your brain. Finish designing in your brain, then you start implementing it. So for instance, I'm already done designing this work in my brain. I'm already done designing it in my memory. All right, so all I'm trying to do is to make sure everything works out. Now the reason why I'm using this color is because at the end of this design, I'm going to add the light effect. If you're familiar with my tutorials, you know I love using light effects. So I'm going to add the light effects on this image of this lady, this particular image of the lady. I'm going to add light effect on it. All right, and the light effect is usually kind of brown yellow. All right, it's kind of yellow. So once I add this light effect on it, it's going to automatically affect everything on my design. So if I decide to make use of blue for this color and I add light effect on this design and it's giving me the yellow or the brown yellow feel, and I'm already using blue here, the color, or maybe I'm using red here, the color is already having issues. So I want to make sure that my color blends as much as possible. All right, I want to try as much as possible to ensure my color blends well. So I've already designed this in my brain and I've already pictured the outcome. So that is the reason why I'm using this color. Another reason why I'm using this color is because the color on this lady's face, it's having something similar. Look at it, let's compare. Can you see this, guys? It's having something similar. All right, it's having something similar. Look at her hand, the color is looking similar. So your color needs to blend well. Another color that looks a bit similar on this design, something like, it's not exactly blue, that's why I don't want to use blue. When you look at the car, you are going to see that there's a color that looks like almost we can call it gray. Yeah, no, we can't really call it blue, maybe gray, but almost blue, but it's not exactly blue. All right, so that's why I'm not even using blue on this design. Okay, I'm very much intentional on the use of color. Now I'm going to create my another grid here. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that this shape does not exceed this letter N. Can you see this, guys? So I'm going to move it this way. I'm trying to ensure that it's on the same path with the letter N. So I'm going to check, cross check. I just need to bring this down this way. So you must cross check, please, guys. Be very, very intentional with this. Now let's bring down the autos. I want to ensure that the autos is in the middle of the shape. Now look at it. I'm not just placing the autos anyhow. I'm making sure that the letter S and the O is in the middle of the shape. Intentional. Be intentional about what you are doing. Now the next thing we want to do is to copy these autos and just write repairs. All right, so we're going to write repairs. Okay, now for this repairs, I made use of the Montserrat medium. So I'm going to click on the Montserrat. I'm going to use the Montserrat medium, guys. So that's what I'm using. Now I'm just going to place this repairs here. So you have to reduce the size. Okay, so I'm going to place it here, and then I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, because now look at this color, you can't place it here like this, it's not really visible. Okay, so that's the reason I'm making use of white. Now I'm going to place it here like this. Just move. Okay, just make sure it's in the middle. So you can decide to, let's check out black color. So you can decide to use black, but I don't prefer this black. I prefer white, because after taking this design to Lightroom and Pixellab, the white is going to come out well. So that's the reason I'm making use of white. Okay, so now you are done with this, right? Now once you are done with this, let's change the autos to black, pure black. It's not exactly black color. So once you are done with this, now the next thing we want to do is to bring in a white background. So let me go to my gallery, guys. Now guys, this is the background I'm using. Now the reason why I'm using this background is because when you look at the background, you're going to see some patterns on the white. So I don't want to use just pure white. I want little patterns to be visible. So that's the reason why I'm making use of this background. Now I'm going to flip this because the patterns is mostly at the top of this background. When you look at the bottom, you're going to see that it's clear, but at the top there's patterns. So and I want these patterns to show at the bottom of our design. So I'm going to flip this background and I'm going to mark it. So you have something like this. Now I'm just going to increase this size this way, and then I'm going to drop down. Click drop down like this. Okay, so just click drop down just like this. So you click drop down. Now we're going to take this to back, take it to back. You don't need to blend, because remember, it's not going to show the the sharp edge is behind this image of this lady repairing a car, so you don't have issues with that. So you just need to lock the layer. Now the next thing we want to do, let's make this let's make this color, let's color this black, this big one, but we're going to make use of a texture. All right, now let's check out the original design and let's check out the next thing to do, because the next thing to do is to start adding the images. All right, start adding these mini tree images. So that's what we're about to do now. Now I'm going to click on shape, a rectangle like this. I'm going to increase this size of this rectangle like this, have something like this, guys, just increase like this. Okay, so I'm going to mark this. Now I'm going to copy this again. I'm going to edit. I'm going to make sure it's long this way, increase the size. All right, and then mark. Now I'm going to change the color of this to red, so you have something like this. Now what we want to do is we want to merge layers. Remember, this is white. Can you see this? This is white. So I'm going to change this to red and rotate this way. We want to merge layer. We want it to be slant. Okay, let's change this to black so that we can see what we are doing. Now I'm going to put this way like this. All right, and I'm also going to copy again, and I'm going to place another one here this way like this. So we have something like this, guys. So let's see if there's need to rotate again. Let me see. Okay, so I'll delete this, I'll copy this, I'll just place it here this way. So the angle of rotation for this, not too much, just I think -81. So I have something like this. Now I'm going to merge these three layers together. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because this is a slant image. The image we are adding the texture in is a slant image. So this is how you create it. I'm going to merge these three shapes together. All right, and then you click merge. So you're going to wait for it to merge. Now we are going to erase the red color. So you can see these layers are merged together. Can you see this, guys? They are merged together. All right, so I'm going to click on erase color, enable, and then pick my color picker tool, and then click on red, and then mark this. So we have erased the red color. Now I'm going to increase the tolerance a bit to about maybe this way, and then mark this. Now I'm going to copy this black again, because if you don't copy this black again and merge it with this same shape, once you add texture, the texture is going to be everywhere. It's not going to be proper. So I'm going to copy this black shape, reduce the size of my duplicate, the one that I've copied. This is it. I'm going to reduce it to the smallest size, and I'm going to place it on this black. Now I'm going to merge the two together, the one I copied and the original. So I'm going to merge and click OK. Now once we merge, we can now start adding texture. So we have our shape, but I'm just going to crop out the shape, all right, because I just want to crop out. I don't want too much, so I just want to crop it out this way like this. All right, so I'm just going to crop out this way, so I have something like this, and I'm going to mark this way. So good, we have our shape. Good, now we have our shape. Now the next thing we are going to do is to reduce the size, and then what we want to do next is to just start adding our images. Now, but before we do that, I'm just going to let me correct this. Yeah, so I'm just going to check out the original. Okay, check out the original. Let's see. So I'm trying to get the size of the shape. So this is the size. Okay, now I'm going to make this invisible. Now just place it here. Remember, we drew our meter rule, so I'm going to do that again for this place. I want to check the distance. I want to ensure that I'm not breaking any rules, guys. Okay, so we have to move this out a little like this. Yeah, just move out. Yes, so I want it to just stay on the shape. Now I'm going to copy this again. I'm going to place it here like this. All right, going to place it here like this, and we're going to copy one more, and we're going to place it here like this. Now what we want to do next here is to just click on stroke, or before we click on stroke, let's start adding the images. So let's check out the first image. Let's check out what's in the first image. Okay, so the man spraying the car. So I'm going to click on texture and add the first texture. All right, guys, so this is the first texture. Now if you noticed, this image is the man is looking at the other side. So what I need to do is to flip this way, because I want it to be I want the image to look the way it's meant to. I want the man to look inside of the design, not outside of the design. So I'm going to flip it this way and change to 1:1, because our shape is more like a square shape. So I'm going to change to 1:1, and I'm going to move it this way. Now there's a reason why I'm not leaving it here, because the emphasis is mostly here. So I want here to be more visible than here. So I have to move this shape this way, because I want it to capture the emphasis that this man is walking on the body of a car. All right, so I'm going to mark this. Now once you mark this, can you see this, guys? It's going to reflect inside of the texture. Can you see this? Now I'm going to click on the second texture. All right, now let's check out what's on the second texture. Okay, the one on the tire. So I'm going to click on texture and import. Alright, guys, now this is the second texture. You can see also that this image, the man is looking outside. If we insert the texture like this, the man will be looking outside of the flyer. So we have to flip this way and make it 1:1. Again, I can't leave it here like this. It's not capturing the emphasis. So I'm going to move it this way to ensure that people can see that, okay, he's working on the tire, he's doing something there. So I'm going to mark this way. Can you see this, guys? We have our second image. Now I'm going to click on the last image. All right, and let's just check out the texture. Okay, Now I'm going to pick the texture. Alright guys, so this is the last texture. I'm going to click this way. I'm going to flip, that's the wrong flip. Yeah, so I'm going to flip this way, guys. So I want this also, but for this particular one we can actually leave it, that's the wrong flip, so we can actually leave it this way. Okay, we can leave this way. So I'm going to mark this way, and you have something like this, or you can decide to flip. Let's check out the original. Yeah, so you can decide to flip, or you can decide to leave it this way. All right, and this is cool. Now the next thing we want to do is to add strokes on this design. Strokes. Now the reason why we are adding strokes is because we want it to stand out. I'm going to add stroke and I'm going to add shadow, but my shadow is not going to be too thick because I want it to stand out on this design. Now let me show you guys what I mean. Now I'm going to add stroke for this first design. I'm going to make sure the stroke is 5, but I'm going to pick this color. Alright, I'm picking a color that is similar to the color of the shape we used for the repairs. Alright, I'm going to pick this color. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click stroke. I'm going to make this stroke 5. I'm going to choose white. Now it's not visible because we've not added shadow. Alright, I'm going to click on the third shape. I'm going to make the stroke 5 and I'm going to click white. Alright, now I'm going to click on shadow, enable shadow, guys. Now once you enable shadow, the shadow is going to be too thick on your design, which is not going to look well on your design. So what you need to do, I've taught you guys in my previous tutorial, when the shadow is too thick on the design, you reduce the opacity of the shadow. Now I'm going to click on, I'm also going to drop the offset X and the offset Y for the shadow. Alright, it gives more beauty to it. Alright, when you drop the offset X, when it is done rightly, guys, when you do it in the right way. So I'm going to drop this offset X this way, and I'm going to move offset Y this way, something like this. Now I'm going to increase the blur radius, and I'm going to click the add, and I'm going to reduce the opacity to somewhere here and click OK. So you check it out, is it cool? If it's more, you still reduce again. So I click OK. Now can you see this, guys? Now let's do the same for the second image. Let me increase the shadow a bit. Yeah, so let's do this. That's 1620. So let's do that for the second shape. So let's click this again. So we click on shadow, we move the offset X to 16. The offset needs to be the same across, images. 1620. All right, and then increase the blur radius to the highest, and then drop the opacity of the shadow. Now let's click on the next one. All right, and then you click on shadow, you click on 2516 dash to align 1620. All right, and then you drop the opacity. Now can you see this, guys? It's looking more good. It's looking, awesome. Now the next thing we want to do, we need to reduce the size of these shapes. All right, so I'm going to reduce the size of these shapes. Let's see 34. All right, let's see 34. Now the reason why I'm reducing the size of these shapes is because we have some other details we are going to be adding. All right, we have some other details we are going to be adding. So if we don't reduce the size of this, it's not going to we will not be able to add those images. There will be no space. All right, so let's move this way here like this. So you have something like this. This needs to be in the middle, guys. It needs to be in the middle of this. Let's see. Okay, so I think this is cool. Now the next thing we want to do is to click on copy the text for the repairs, and then we want to start adding the details. So I'm going to choose the car maintenance, these details, and I'm going to place this here. Now I'm going to change the color to black. All right, now we're already having a black a white background, so we're going to be using majorly black colors. Now let's check out the original design. Okay, I'm just going to move the original design to front, and I'm going to make this visible. Now the font I used for this is actually the Began. All right, it's not Montserrat, it's actually the Began. So I'm going to change that font to Began. Okay, now I'm going to change that to Began. Sorry, not Began, MTN. Yeah, the MTN font. Yeah, so we'll use regular. Let's check out regular and see. Yeah, so we're going to use regular. That's actually the font I used. Yeah, so we're going to place this here this way now, but we need to add the verified icons. When you look at the design, you're going to see that I added some verified icons. So I'm going to bring in that icon now so we can start adding the icon, and then we move on. So let's bring in the icon. Okay guys, so this is the icon. I'm just going to reduce the size this way, okay, so that we can import it into our gallery. So I'm going to mark this. Now I'm going to reduce this size this way. All right, now look at the color for this icon. You are going to see that it's not blending well with any color on this background. So it simply means that we need to work on the hue for this icon. All right, so I'm going to click on hue, and I'm going to change this to keep working on the hue until you see that it blends well with the design. All right, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so 128. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this size like this, and I'm going to move it this way like this. Okay, so I'm going to move it this way. Okay, so I'm going to move it this way. Let's check out the original. All right, let's check this out. Okay, so I'm going to move our services is still going to be here, so I'm going to bring this down so that we can have our services at the top of it here. So I'm going to move this way. Okay, now we still need to move this image a little bit, so I need to move this image a little here. So I'm going to bring down the verified icons. Just bring it down, make sure it is aligned and it is not close. It is not close to your your listings. All right, it's not too close to your listings. So if you check this out, you can see that it's a bit close. So I'm going to move my listings this way like this. All right, it must not be too close. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down this way. Yeah, so we have something like this. Now we're going to copy again. Okay, copy, and also we're going to bring down again. All right, so keep bringing down till we get the accurate. Okay, yeah, so you move down. Yeah, move down like this. Okay, yeah, okay, so let's move down one more. Yeah, so we copy again. Now you can decide not to use this verified mark icon. I'm using it because I love it. All right, and it just gives the design more beauty. So you can decide to use that check that some of us are familiar with that check icon, or sometimes on my tutorials I make use of the full stop, but I just want something different from the ones I've been using before, so that's why I'm making use of this. All right, so we'll copy one more time and then we are good to go. So we copy again this verified icon, just take up like this. All right, so you bring like this, you take down. Yeah, let's see, and yeah, good. So we are good to go. So you use your meter rule to check if it is aligned. I think one of them is not aligned, so I will just try to correct that and see. So let's check again. Okay, so this is perfect. So we have something like this. Now I'm going to lock these layers, and I'm going to copy the text for I'm going to copy this text. Now I'm going to click on the duplicated text and change to our services. All right, so we'll just write our services there. Okay, so we'll just make this letter O capital letter. All right, so we click OK. Now I'm going to change this font. Just going to pick this font. Now the font I used for this is in the designers package. If you want to get it, you can check it out. All right, it's in the designers package. Now I'm going to place this here. Make sure it's also aligned to the margin. All right, make sure it's aligned to the margin. Now once you've aligned it to the margin, what we need to do now is to change the color. We just pick a color. You pick a color that is similar to the color we've been using so far. All right, so you can pick a color like this. All right, you can pick a color like this. All right, so you can also use the same color you used for the shape for the repairs. All right, it's still cool. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is to bring in the sticker, not the sticker now, the seal where we wrote now open. Now let's do that. Right guys, so this is the sticker we're going to be using, the seal, sorry, this is the seal we're going to be using. So I'm going to mark this seal this way, but we're going to reduce the size of the seal. We're going to draw a margin. Okay, we're going to draw a margin. Okay, so we're going to ensure, okay, so we're going to ensure that the sticker is somewhere here. All right, somewhere here. Just reduce the size a bit, but it's not going out of the margin, so it's going to be somewhere here like this. And you see this, guys, so we can even, let's check out the original. Yeah, so you can see. So now we place it somewhere here, and then we write on it the now open, but we need to check out the color of the sticker, all right, to see if it aligns well with the background. Remember I said that I've designed this already. I know I'm going to add light effect. I've designed it in my head already, and I know that I'm going to, you know, add the light effect. So I'm trying to picture it to look everything when the light effect is added and the Lightroom effect is on it. So let's work on the hue. Let me just reduce the hue a little bit to about -18. All right, let's reduce the hue to about -18. Let's reduce this to about -6. So what I'm just trying to achieve here is nothing much. All I'm trying to achieve is to get something that blends with the background, and you can see this, guys. Now, having done this, I'm going to lock this layer, and I'm going to copy the text. I'm going to copy the text here. I'm just going to write now open. Okay, now open. All right, so I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to change the font. We're still going to make use of the let's see, the MTN font, but I think I want to make use of the bold. All right, the MTN Sans bold. Okay, so I'm going to increase the size, place it on the now open, but if you notice, it is left aligned, so I have to click on alignment and click on center aligned. I told you guys, when you're writing a text inside of maybe a circle or a shape, make sure it is center aligned. And also the line spacing, the space in between the now and the open is too much, so we need to close up that space using the line spacing. So I'll close it up like this. Don't close it up too much, guys, just close it up like this, and you leave it like this, and make sure that the now open is sitting comfortably inside of the shape. So you don't want to have something like this that it will be closed like this, something like this, or something like this. It's not cool. Make sure it's center, it's seated inside of the shape, and when you have this, you are good to go. Now the next thing we want to do is to create a shape. This same shape we used for the repairs, that's the same shape we're going to be using. I'll copy this shape right now, and the reason why we need this shape, let's flip it this way. All right, so we just need a shape where we're going to write for you know, the call to action, which is visit our website. The visit our website is the call to action, so I'm going to place it somewhere here like this. All right, so you can increase it this way, and I'll just change the color. I don't want, the reason why I'm changing the color is because I just want something cool. I don't want it to you know, I don't want to have too much of this color on the design. All right, so that's the reason why I'm changing the color to something like ash color. So I'm going to pick something like the ash color like this, and I'm going to click OK, mark this, and then I have the shape. Now that we have the shape, we're going to copy the same text for the camp maintenance, and we're going to just write visit our website. All right, so this is like the call to action. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I'm going to move it down this way, place it here, copy the text again, and then write the website address. All right, so this is the website address. Now place it here this way. So I'm going to move down this, just give space in between, you know, the visit our website and the website. All right, so we have something like this, guys. Now the next thing we want to do is to copy this shape. All right, copy this shape, which is the last thing we're going to be doing. Copy any of these three shapes. All right, now we're going to remove the stroke. Okay, we're just going to remove the stroke, so we have something like this. Now let's lock these layers so they don't move. Okay, so we copy the stroke, and then I'm going to increase the size this way. I just increase this way, something like this. Just increase this way, and then reduce this way like this, so that you can have something like this, guys. Now there is no much reason why I'm doing this. All right, it's not like it's, you can decide to just create a white shape like this if you wish. You can decide to create maybe a shape like this and then just change the color. All right, you can decide to just create a shape like this and then don't just change the color. So you can decide to use this color we've been using so far. All right, you can decide to use this color, but the reason why I'm doing this, yeah, you can decide to use this color and you are cool. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I just want more uniqueness on the design. I just want it to have, you know, that amazing feel on the design. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. Now I'm going to click on texture, increase the texture to the highest. Let's see, so that you can have something like this. Let's see. Or we can also do it manually by adding texture inside of this shape. So let's click on texture and add the same texture, right? So this is the texture. So I'm just going to reduce this size this way. Just place it somewhere here like this and reduce this size this way, very little like this. So can you see this, guys? Can you see this? So I'm going to copy this same shape again and I am going to place it here. Now, like I said, the whole idea behind this, also make sure that it is, you know, centralized. The whole idea behind this is just to give more beauty to this design. There is nothing, you know, it's not like it's a part of the design, but it beautifies your design, guys. It beautifies your design if you do it well. All right, so I'm just going to place this here, move this way. Now I'm going to change this texture to any of these textures, these images here. So let's make use of this texture. I'll just reduce the size the same way I did, you know, for this. Just reduce the size this way, flip this way, and then we have something like this. Now can you see this, guys? So now after doing this, we can decide to add color. We can decide to add color. Let's see if we can add color for this first shape. Let's click on color and see. Let's click on color, let's click on gradient and see. So can you see this, guys? Can you see? Let me show you guys the original. After adding the texture, I added color again, but it's gradient color, because if you add normal color, it's not going to be visible. Can you see this, guys? So you could look at the bottom, you see that I added a little you know, amount of color again. So let's do that. So you click on gradient, you click on color, click on gradient, but let's move the gradient this way so we have something like this. Okay, this is better. So can you see this, guys? We have color here. You can also click on the second shape and also add color, a gradient color. You can decide to add something like this, but a transparent, you know, a transparent. Let's click this like this. Let's flip this way like this. Let's do it like this. So let's have something like this and click OK. So can you see this, guys? So whichever way, you can decide not to add color, you can leave it that way, but I just prefer adding color. I'll just click this, reduce the opacity of this and click OK, and then you are good to go. Your design is good to go. So this is all you need to do in the Pixellab application. Now once you are done with this, you save your design as image, as ultra. And I've seen some designs that when you send the design, it's not sharp. Guys, save your designs as ultra. Save as ultra. As long as your images are quality images and they are good images, once you save your design as ultra, it's going to come out well. Now when you look at this design, you are going to see everything is looking nice and amazing. Okay, there's one more thing we need to do. Now I said that this began, I added a texture inside of this began, so I'm going to add the texture right now inside of the text, the began text. So let's click the began text and let's click on texture. So I'm going to click on this, guys. I'm going to make the opacity, I'm going to make the size this way. Just have something like this, and then you click on the mark icon and then you just enable the texture. Now guys, can you see this? Can you see that the texture is inside of it? All right, so with this you save the image as, you know, ultra. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to add the light effect in the Pixellab application. Alright guys, so this is my image. So I'm going to be clicking on add photo and I'm going to bring in the light effect. Alright guys, so can you see this? Can you see this light effect? So I'm going to click on blend and I'm going to pick let's see, I want to pick screen. I'm going to choose screen I'm going to increase the size this way. Can you see this, guys? So the essence of me doing this is to add more beauty. Now look at, without the light effect, look at the top, this place where the lady's face is. Can you see that that place looks a bit dark? Her skin tone is looking a bit dark. Now when you bring up the light effect, just increase it, and remember I've taught you guys how to use light effect. The white part must not reflect on your design, so move it out. Can you see this, guys? Now duplicate this again. Now for your PixArt, you can duplicate from here. I'll click here, you double click on it, and then you click on duplicate. Now can you see this, guys? But this is too much, so I'm going to move this out again like this. I'm going to place it somewhere here. Can you see this, guys? Can you see this, guys? Now I'm going to duplicate again. I'm going to put one here. Okay, none should be here, none should be here. Okay, let's place it here, just a bit far away, because if it's too close, it's going to affect your design. Don't let it be too close. Now I'm going to duplicate this light effect again, and I'm going to place it here, but I want to change the hue of this. I want to change the hue of this a little bit. So I'm going to click on adjust, and I'm going to click on hue, and I'm going to move the hue a little bit. Yeah, I want it to have something like a blue effect, and I'm going to reduce the blue effect. Yeah, can you see? Minus 147. Now I'm going to mark this, and I'm going to reduce the opacity exactly. So I'm going to reduce the opacity to about 53. So can you see this, guys? So can you see that there's light effect? See the effect, the light is giving to this design. It's making the design look more amazing. Now once you are done with this, you save to your gallery. Now the last thing to do on this design, which I did, was to enhance this design in the Adobe Lightroom application. Now if you want to learn how to enhance perfectly well, check this video description. You're going to see my course on smartphone photo editing. It's going to teach you how to enhance using the Lightroom, and also it's going to teach you effectively how to make use of the PixArt application. Guys, thank you so much for staying to the end of this tutorial. Please do well to practice and create something unique, something different from what I've done, something unique. All right, do well to practice. I'm going to make the resource file available in the Google Drive. Check this video description. You're going to see the link to get the resource file. Guys, I look forward to seeing you guys in my next tutorial. Please share this video, share to other creatives out there so that they can learn something new. Until next time, guys, see you.